So in Need for Speed Payback, alongside the campaign missions and the regular list of cars you can just purchase outright, there are 5 derelict cars, which are 5 special cars which you have to work a little bit harder to actually obtain. So unlike the normal cars in the game, any of these 5 derelicts, once you've got them up to a full build and workable driving car, they can be any class you want. So race, drift, drag, off-road, or runner. To kickstart your derelict project, you're firstly going to need to find the chassis of the car. That'll be your base of operations. And from there, you can find 4 other parts which are scattered across the map, and you'll be given some clues from the game to try and find them. But it's your job to try and actually find them, pinpoint them on the map, and go to them and find them. In some cases, it may be pretty straightforward. Just drive to the point of the map you think it's in. In other cases, you may have to do some actual cunning work and go over some jumps or try and navigate some obstacles to try and get to said part that's there in the wilderness of Fortune Valley. Once you've got all 4 parts on top of that main chassis to start off with, you can finally turn your derelict into an actual working car. And then from here, as I mentioned, you can choose whatever class of car you want it to be, and then you can go ahead and level it up to eventually become a super build car. So for the remainder of this video, this is going to be a walkthrough guide of obtaining the 1965 Ford Mustang. So the way you'll actually discover this derelict build is via the campaign missions. Once you have completed all the races in the Graveyard Shift race class, and you've beaten the final boss battle of the Graveyard Shift, you'll be given a clue by the boss herself.
Enjoy the Mustang, Morgan. I'll be seeing you.
It's Ty. Got a lead on an old Mustang body.
Is that so?
Uh-huh. Had to dance with the Grim Reaper herself to get it.
What? Ah, graveyard shift. If you find it, come back to the garage and we'll see what we can make of it.
So this is our first clue. You get a photo of the area which it is located in, and then in the top right, you can pin this to your main map, which is a lot more useful than the actual photo itself, which is the actual area of the map. So now it's your job to go through the map and actually look out, search out for this road, and try and find the circled area in red, and that is where your part or chassis is going to be. In this case, we're starting off with the chassis. It's what you normally start off with the derelict build. So we've been given this clue by the boss from the Graveyard Shift. We've just completed that race, and now we've got this clue. We've got it. X marks the spot. We're going to go to that waypoint there. You can see I'm going to travel to the nearby tune-up shop, and then we're going to drive over on there and try and find this chassis. And you can see as we get close to the area of interest, this is where the chassis is going to be. On the left-hand side by the mini-map there, you're going to see the beacon pops up, and you can probably hear it as well, beeping along, trying to give you an even better clue of where this part or chassis is. In our case, here it is, the chassis of the Ford Mustang.
That's from a 65 Mustang. Nice.
So we've now found the chassis of the Ford Mustang, and now we've essentially started this derelict project of this car. So you can see we've now got 4 different parts that are undiscovered, and you can see for each of them they have their individual photos and also a pin-up point for the mini-map itself. So for the first one, the top left, we're going to go and head over to the bottom left-hand side of the map, and you can see the red circle is highlighted just on one of those outer edge roads. So the nearest tune-up shop there is to the bottom of it, so we're going to fast travel to there, and we're going to drive on up there. So this first part actually ended up being a little bit trickier than I thought it would for our initial first out of 4 parts for the Mustang here. So we come up to the left-hand side, you can see X marks the spot, and our beacon has popped up there. You can see on the left-hand side, there is where the derelict is, in blue on the left-hand side. Now, initially I thought I could go over here on the left and just go to it. Not the case. You actually have to jump over those rocks. So instead of going left there, go to the right here. It's kind of like a fork, a Y-shaped fork. You want to go to the right-hand side of the fork, and if you turn around the car, you'll eventually see, as I try and get this car maneuvered around, I'm just trying to straighten it up, and we have a full tank of nitros because you're going to need it all to try and make this jump, because I'm using the starter car in the games that I've chosen. So we go vaulting across, you can see going over those high rocks, and here is our first derelict part. Right, so 1 down, 3 to go. That was actually the engine block. So now we've got a body part, 2 body parts, and the wheels to find. So we're going to go for the top right then and try and find this one. So once again, pin that to the map and go ahead and search. So this actually ends up being in the middle of the map itself. So you're going to want to look out for the main road, and then the general shape you can hopefully see there. The circle is going to be right in the middle of that area. It's actually an expansive desert kind of hill area. So an off-road car may actually be easier to go go with, but I'm just going to go ahead with my race build car that I initially got at the start of this game. So we fast travel to the nearby gas station then, and we are right in the middle of this. You can see there is our waypoint, so we're going straight towards it, and you can see what I mean by the off-road car. An off-road car may be a little bit easier to navigate this area, but we've gone with the race car, and you can see going over the waypoint, it's not slap bang in the middle, and what you want to be looking for is this massive ridge on the right-hand side. You can see there is the beacon popping up. You can hear it also in the background, and you can see me trying my best to vault over. Now, I don't do what I did. I moved to the left-hand side here, thinking this was going to be the entry point. Nope, it definitely was not. Went off there on the left-hand side, so top tip, don't do that. Don't go off on the left-hand side. You want to actually look out for this barn on the right, and then go to the left of it, and you can see this jump, which I actually failed to do, but I just use my nitros there and full throttle it just to get over the little ridge of rocks. But you want to look for that barn, and basically you'll find the ramp then very easily, and there is our second derelict part. So halfway there, then we found the top two parts. We're now going to move on to the bottom right-hand side there. So once again, pinning up that little clue for our map. And we're going to look ahead to the top left here. This is going to be, and you're going to want to find, especially the best way to look at it is essentially this long right-hand, which is almost kind of like a U shape on the left-hand side there. And the circle marks the spot. It's pretty much over that entire area. So you just want to go ahead to that entire curve. And it's actually inside the little dip to the left. So you can see this is where our waypoint was. This was the huge curve, and what you want to actually do is you want to go off-road a little bit and actually go to this what looks like a shortcut at first on the right hand side. You can see on the bottom left where this is on the mini-map then, and then you can see this little jump about to come up. You can see the beacon comes up. Initially I got a little bit confused at where it was, but the jump is right there. And pretty much when it comes to at least the Ford Mustang derelict build, I can't speak for the other ones, but pretty much when there ever was a jump, that's where you are going to find where you needed to go. So jumping over there to this place where you can only get to after doing that jump, and there is our third derelict part. So good progress now, 3 out of 4, 1 left to go, and then we can turn this derelict into an actual functioning Ford Mustang. So for this final one on the bottom left, we want to go over to the right hand side of the map. You can see that huge main road curve, and then essentially pinpointing where the circle is. It's around that area. This one was probably the most difficult one out of the 4 to actually find. It's a little bit confusing. The area is very vague, but basically we're on this main road, on the dirt road. You move to the left hand side. This is where the waypoint was then. You can see that huge ridge on the right hand side where essentially the rock is built up. Now that is actually where the derelict is, but at this stage of finding it I couldn't figure out where it is. There it is on the top right, you can see of our screen. What you want to actually do is go a little further up the hill initially, nearer to where the main road was, and if we turn around at this point you can see the jump right there. So we're going to go ahead, use all our nitros, jump over the entire thing, just about make it, and then we've got another little bit of way to go, and then we'll find where the final derelict part is. Here it is then, and we've completed the derelict program.
That should be enough to rebuild the 65 Mustang.
Derelict parts? We should check them out. What kind of build you want for this one? The race build? With a drift build, you'll have no trouble throwing the back wheels around corners. A drag build is all about raw power in a straight line. A runner build is ideal for urban environments. It'll give you maneuverability and a chassis that can take a punch. The off-road is a setup that'll give you the grip and shocks you need to survive bouncing around the scenery. Look at that classic 65 Mustang. If that body doesn't turn heads, the growl of her V8 definitely will.
So we've turned this car from scrap to stock, and so now we can potentially turn it into a supercar you saw. As I mentioned earlier in the video, we can also max out the level to make it a super build. So you need to level up this car up to level 300, which is the end of tier 2, and once you've done that, the super builds will unlock. So you can customize it into what is essentially an absolutely insane monster of a car, which is just bonkers compared to the stock customization you can do. But for the rest of this video, we're going to run through the customization information then, what's available to us right now. You can see some things are locked, and you need to unlock them as you go through the game and do those challenges. Once they are unlocked once by any car, they're unlocked for every single car, if you did not know that. So you can see each of the challenges you can do in other cars and then come back to the derelict build to then customize it. But we're going to go ahead and customize what's available to us then, and then we're going to finally see how this thing sounds and runs. So here we are then, the 1965 Ford Mustang, built up in stock from what was just scrap metal just a few minutes ago. So that has been the full guide then for the 1965 Ford Mustang derelict build. If you guys did find the video informative and helpful, then smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for more Need for Speed Payback gameplay. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.